Hello, all you beautiful people. It is me, Daramuth, and welcome back to another video. I know yesterday was a bit of a strange one because I forgot to do one day, and I did it on a Tuesday, which was late into a Wednesday, which makes this all the more weird. But the holiday weekend is approaching, and I may do a video tomorrow, but a more likely will be a recorded one to put on for Friday because the holiday weekend, which I hope you all get to enjoy. I know this one will be a weird one because the holidays on a Tuesday and then there's Monday. Time is quite a strange notion. But anyway, how are you, all of you? I hope you're doing well. I really didn't do much today other than go for a nice walk outside, and it's still hazy. Like there's a forest fire going on, which is weird because I thought that happened weeks ago, but what do I know? I'm not a weather forecaster, unfortunately. Um, but hey, I gotta suffer like everyone else. So, but I was trying to think of a good topic to talk about, and I figure, see, I talked about a book I had gotten yesterday. It was an antique, and about the memories within and all that, and it got me thinking about not scrapbooks but journals, right? A lot of people write in journals, whether it's historical, war, or personal. Well, I guess if a soldier writes in a journal during the war, it's still personal. So personal or historical, but I think they become historical up to a point. So it's about writing down the words you have at the time of when you write them, obviously, and then going back later and then looking over and thinking, I don't remember that at all, or that seemed different from what I remember. And I think it kind of goes to show that memories in themselves, and this has been talked about on a psychological level, but memories in themselves are not a reliable station of rememberation for, um, for trusting on, like, I think I remember this, when in truth you probably don't. But I personally don't know because it's hard to trust my memories because sometimes you have memories of what you think, and then your parents kind of correct you, like, no, that's not correct. You're like, uh, uh, weird. So, but yeah, I I dabbled in writing a journal, but I never stayed with it because I didn't find reason to, or I didn't feel compelled to, as I should say. Uh, but maybe I'll get back into it. I don't know. The question to you would be, you guys would be, do you write in a journal, or do you write, like, scrap a piece of paper down and kind of just put in a book or whatever? Because I feel for myself, it's nice to keep notes or a remembrance of what the day was. Maybe because I would write down, what was it? I'd write down the time I'm writing it, the date I'm writing it, and the temperature I'm writing at. And then that way, it gave me an idea of what time and all that stuff. Not saying that people get that detailed, but there were instances in history where someone like Thomas Jefferson would keep a very detailed, what was it, the weather? You do a very weathered weather diary, and all that, and so many others too. I think George Washington had that journal as well, but I digress. I don't really know. Um, but it's a very interesting notion to write your thoughts down and then leave it for a time and then come back and look over and think over and think, maybe what I thought was not as is so in my head now. And that's very that's a very, I would say it's a surprise, an interesting surprise, but a scary one too, because then if you can't trust your memories, then what of yourself can you trust? And that's a very big notion of life itself, is what parts of things can you trust against things you know to be true, things that are true, and things that were never true to begin with. And it almost seems paradoxical, and almost seems paradoxical and scary in the sense of asking yourself, well, should I trust this? Should I trust that? I digress. I don't know the answer. All I know is that it's a scary notion to re-go over your memories and think, oh, so I guess I was wrong. And in some small notion, people don't like being wrong, but it comes with the terror of being human, ironically. But anyway, I figured I'd share that little tidbit weird thought I had coming from the fact of the uh, antique book. And like I said, like I said when I made that video, I apologize for the camera. I tried doing a few other tests. It's not picking up the wording, so I may have to buy a different camera to focus in on the wording so I can have you guys see along. Because I'd like to be able to show because it's about spelling. It's a speller, but the different process and how they thought of doing spelling and all that back in the 1920s would be an interesting thing to read along. Plus, you get to see my white hands again, so that's something too. But I digress. Uh, I wonder if any of you have ever written a diary or would ever write in a diary, and if you did, what would you put in it, and what would you want to talk about, or what would you want to preserve in it for yourself? Interesting question to ask, but who knows if I'll ever get an answer, if anyone wants to give an answer. So if you do like, in some weird fashion, of watching me make silly videos and maybe joining along in the thought-provoking process, give a like of where you're at, either YouTube or Rumble, and give a follow as well, because you know, reaching out to the peeps of talking about things that sometimes don't make sense is always a fun conversation to have. So I hope you guys have a good one. I hope your holiday weekend, if you're in the US, if your holiday weekend will go well, and hope to see you guys again. Talk to you all later.